Yeah, people are gonna jump. No?
Joe says.
Joe?
I don't like it any more than anybody else does. Yeah, I'm just trying to think where else put it. I mean, we're here to protect the rural aspect of this township.
But where do we believe this future growth's gonna be when it comes to the industrial side of it in our township? Where's our industrial growth gonna be?
I don't think there won't be much of a.
How much did you expand your, commercial and industrial areas in your future land use map?
We
Quite a
expanded it down to, my thought, and tell me if I'm wrong, Tina, is we went down 91 towards, the VFW, did we not? So, we.
In acres, how much space? You don't know?
Not many.
I'm not,
Not
Okay.
those good numbers.
So you think there's only 40 acres all the way down from Youngman to Fritzner? That whole piece there?
It's not very deep.
Yeah, they're all frontage lots, they're not.
Max?
The others would be, what, another 90?
Yeah, and I had
Less than
60
200.
on Marbles and 35 on Mixes, so 95 would be those two.
And what would be the thought if we expanded over into here?
Pointing towards your house, or?
Yeah. I just think, because I don't believe it'll ever go this way.
You also have to look where the three-phase power lines are, and there's nothing in that direction. The only three-phase we have is in town. For consumers anyway, I know there's more three-phase tri-county from, Kendall goes north, but that's it.
What about the lot sizes?
So if I'm hearing you all correct, then your recommendation is that we'll leave it to what it is as of in our master plan that we have today. And it's I'll leave it at that.
You said a minimum of 300 acres?
Yeah.
Maybe?
A square mile is what? 640? See, I just thought that if this goes halfway back, and this is how many miles from 91 to Fitzner? This is half, that red there is half of that section. Is it not?
It's not a full mile from 46 to Tamarack though.
No, but you'd be south, he's going south, right, or is that north?
I think he's using
That's
that
north.
road, he's saying it's half the lot back, but from 46 to Tamarack isn't a full mile, it's only a half mile, so that's only a quarter mile lot back.
From 91 to Fitzner.
You're talking from that distance to there, that's
He's talking half the night.
not quite 2 miles, I think it's only a mile and a half.
Okay, so we're half of that section back all the way down through there. It's all red, is it not? Okay, so there's one full section there, there's a section and a half there right now. I'm just saying, from what I can see, we have 300 acres already. For our map,
You're talking about in the future land use map?
Currently,
If you
Yep.
add the land that you've future zone,
Yep.
industrial and commercial.
yeah, we're there. That's my belief, based on what we're
I'm
looking
gonna
at.
pull it up real quick.
Go ahead.
And feel free, I mean, we don't have to make a decision on this tonight, I mean, you
Well,
guys,
I think we're there based on
Okay.
what we've talked about when it comes to,
I just brought it up as a discussion topic.
Yeah.
you know?
no, I think we, yeah.
Because like I said, then you open up, if a developer says, well, you only have 40 acres, well, you say, okay, well, we have all of this land, future zone, commercial and industrial, apply for rezoning, and we'll consider it. You gotta do that first though, so, before they can even apply for a special home.
The only thing with that would be, if she wanted them together, we know they can,
Well, yeah,
you know what I mean, that's
Yeah.
all.
well, and to Quan's point, I mean,
Yes.
the infrastructure doesn't even support that.
No,
I understand that,
Yeah.
but it's, who's to say that won't change down the road? You know, we're out in the middle, kind of nowhere to a point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in a bad sense, but. What do you think, Quan?
That's still a. Tally it up pretty quick.
But I think
we're in the, I mean,
I think we're in the ballpark.
just looking at this, it's all the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're well within that,
Okay.
I believe.
Well, and including what we got over here, I mean,
I think we're,
Do you have a copy?
we're over,
we're close,
I'll
it
ask
should
you
be.
for it.
you don't think we're more than that? You don't
It
think
could
we're,
be, but I mean.
I think we're well over 500.
Yeah.
Am I
It
looking at
doesn't,
that wrong?
it doesn't go that deep into it though, but it's still.
But here's your mile,
300 acres.
that's only a half mile?
Is that up to 10, right?
That's less than a half mile. It's up there. From Tamarack to
So that'd be a mile there. Yeah.
60.
Is your, new master plan on your website?
It is.
I'll look at it.
That's where I pulled this off.
I will take a look at that as well, just to confirm before the next meeting.
3 different properties, we're almost at 200 acres already.
Yeah, that's where I'm.
I think, I mean, you can look at that and pull it up, I mean,
I
I'm
can
sure
look
that
at it.
we're there.
We are.
And if we go based on our master plan that we just approved, then,
Right, well, like I said, it doesn't mean that the property is zoned for this right now, but what it means is that it allows someone to say, you future zone this, and that's one of the biggest things you look at when you consider a rezoning of property, is what does your land use map say?
so I think when it comes to the battery, when it comes to solar, when it comes to, wind, I think we're there when it comes to the
The
land.
acreage.
the acreage.
Yeah, well, your wind ordinance currently also allows it in ag,
Right,
so
that we're
just,
there,
you're already there with that one.
right.
I just noted that for solar, and we can have a discussion for batteries.
So 227 for the intersection,
Oh,
because it's 227 acres,
Just that one side,
just one side, just on the north side.
so we're at 300.
There's more on.
Right.
Where's Eagle Chase?
Plus the future down '91, so.
So I think we're well there when it comes to that, so I think
I
our
don't
decision's
know.
Any
already
other,
been made.
any other questions on solar? Wind, I think, is this exact same thing. Just noting that you also have it in ag currently, so that one is even more, you know.
Should I take a vote on each one of these individually or no group?
No, because we gotta schedule more public hearing anyway. Remember, we're gonna do a public hearing on these first, and then we'll vote on them after the public hearing. Tonight is just for discussion of the ordinances. Unless you wanna have further discussion, or
No?
if you're good and you don't wanna
As long
make
as we
changes
vote,
to them,
yeah,
yeah,
as
okay,
long as we
perfect.
vote on the public.
Yeah,
hearing.
you'll vote after the
Mhm.
public hearing on these. Okay, so
So
let's go to battery. So this one, battery energy storage systems are kind of a new phenomenon, and admittedly, they are something that we're learning a lot about, and so we have developed some, what we feel to be stringent standards, keeping in mind our local community's concerns with existing alternative energy. So really, I don't wanna belabor this too much and go line by line through it, because the goal here is just to get something on your books, because you don't regulate it at all. So on November 29th or 30th, if PA 233 takes effect, and you don't have anything regulating battery energy storage in your ordinance, then a developer can go straight to the Michigan Public Service Commission to apply. So I don't wanna waste too much time going over the nitty gritty, although of course I want you to take a look at it, and if you have any questions or concerns with it, let me know. But the goal of this year is to get something in your ordinance to regulate this in the best way that we can, knowing what we know about battery energy storage systems, and how they are typically cited and, operated in conjunction with other alternative energy projects. As I said, this ordinance is on the restrictive side, knowing what I know about the policies here in Cato Township. But it also has the exact same language that we have in the other two ordinances with respect to the trigger language of PA 253. So to the extent that some of these more stringent standards like setbacks and noise are incompatible with PA 233, the more industry-friendly standards would take effect if the statute does.
And then we didn't define this in our ordinance on the lead.
Yep,
Illegal
so
use
there
of
is
it.
so we add a definition under the first section. So,
Okay.
we would literally, and it's already codified, would be a new section 3.42 where your current ordinance has wind and solar, and would just add a section to regulate this. And, then the only thing really that we need to do is determine where we wanna put it. So page 2, it depends on how it is showing up on your ordinance. It's subsections C under 2 general provisions. So we just need to list where we wanna allow it, and it can be as simple as plugging in what we have for solar or wind.
Discussion there? Here, that would be my thought. Jake?
I agree.
Okay.
It's already industrial, so
Yeah,
why
so
not?
industrial and commercial.
Yep.
And my comment, I had a comment in mine that didn't show up in this printed version you guys had, but it says the same thing, just that planning commission may wanna consider specific areas to permit /parcels to permit wind, solar, and battery energy storage, minimum of 300 acres, 300 to 500 acres. But I'll plug in industrial and commercial in there.
Are we assuming that these are actual batteries in the same definition sense that everybody understands a battery? Or does this cover all the crazy ones that they're doing, the compressed air ones, the heated sand ones, I mean?
The traditional, how we think of them, yeah. It's a defined term in the statute too, so.
Well, cause I mean, they're coming up,
Yeah.
I mean, pump storage has been in Ludington for how many decades now, and that's a battery. An inefficient one, but a battery.
Any other discussion on these the 2 amendments of the solar and wind and the battery energy storage ordinance? Any further discussion? So,
I'll make these changes to the districts, add that to the battery energy, and so we just need to discuss when in October you guys wanna have a special meeting for your public
so you
hearing.
make a motion for that, right?
You can, you don't have to, I know the board granted the authority to have a special meeting,
Okay.
so.
I was gonna say,
we
how many
just
days do we
discuss.
need to have it?
So
published?
it's
I'm
gotta be
looking-
published 15 days at least, so we're looking probably mid-October, just to be safe with the
Because I think the
publication
nearest would be
timeline.
Wednesday, I think the nearest we could get it in the paper would be
Yeah,
Friday next week.
So I'm thinking maybe October 9th,
that would work for me,
would it?
Yep.
And I think that gives us enough time to get everything
that's 4 weeks.
back in
Yep.
order. And then and that will allow, if we adopt it, that, after that.
When is the board's next meeting after that?
if-
Oh, perfect, okay, so they could, cause you don't have a county planning commission anymore,
No.
right? So the board could adopt it the following week.
October 9th, you said?
It's a Wednesday. Understood,
Yeah. It's just letting you know.
understood. I mean, we really can't move it to the second or the week prior to that, I don't think that gives us enough time where we need to,
To get
it's kind of
published.
too tight. So I mean, the 9th, I think is probably a good day. And that gives us our days for them to get to their, we meet again on, we're gonna have a public hearing on the 9th, let's say if that's the case.
Yep.
And then we gotta come back with another meeting after that?
No,
we're good?
Nope, you'll have the public
Decision.
hearing, and then you can make a decision after that, send it to the board, and the board can do what they wanna do in it on the 13th.
Then we have a normal.
And then you guys have another
13th,
meeting
14th.
in November, it looks like, for,
Yep, 13. And if it doesn't go as planned, then you still got your meeting in November.
That'll be the
And that will
Monday
get us
before.
approval of that before that even, because it takes effect of the 28th, right? 29th?
the statute?
Yes.
Yeah.
28th.
29th.
We did it on-
So October 9th at 6 o'clock, that work for you?
And I'll also bring back some changes to the like residential district ordinance as well, and we can discuss it, but I'm not gonna plan that as a public hearing.
No,
I'll
but
work
hopefully we have
with-
some more concrete when it comes to the Lakefront
Yeah.
residential.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to move on that in our next meeting in November.
And I'll work with Randy on getting the notice together for your public hearing.
Okay. And the goal is on Lakefront property then to hopefully maybe get that done before the end of the year. Kind of tentatively, so.
What, end of your business do we have to do in November? No, we don't have any, anybody's term coming up, or are we have to worry about for January?
No, and I think you all know, because some of you heard, I mean, I'm not gonna renew when it comes to my position on the planning commission, you all know that, right?
We do not?
Okay. We'll talk about it in the last,
It was
meeting,
talked
right?
about Monday.
Monday. Yeah, so, but I let Brandy know that I will do everything to help transition that, and, we'll stick around as long as I need to stick around to do what I need to do to help the township, so I'm not just gonna walk out the front door and say, no, it's adios, so. But that gives a few months for them to plan and do what they need to do, so. So we don't need to vote anything on that then, right?
Nope.
We're good?
Nope, we're all good.
The only other thing I have, on the agenda next is the Winfield Township Planning Commission sent me a note, or a letter, a notice to attempt. They're updating their master plan, and this letter advises us, activity invites our cooperation, comment, participation in the process pursuant to section 39 of the Michigan Planning Enabling Act 33 of 2008 as amended. So they're working on their master plan, just like what we did when they did ours, so I just want you all to know that, so. The next regular meeting then is, November 13th, so. Wanna open up public comments? Yes,
Jamie Snyder, Cato Township. I have a couple things. One, when it comes to the wind, Leslie said that we can possibly set a acreage size for it. I would encourage maybe doing that and limiting it to the 500 acres, 300 or 500 acres, just to help protect the citizens in areas that don't want them. The other one is the battery storage. Is there a way that we can get that posted on the website so that the citizens can see that before public
As soon
hearing?
as she gets done with them, then they'll be posted out there for them all to see.
Perfect,
Yep, it'll be available in the
Okay.
office for a copy if they
Okay.
see fit
Before
to
the
be.
public hearing.
before the
Yep,
public
just
hearing?
like we've done with us. Yep,
Okay, just
absolutely.
wanna make sure. All right, that's all I have.
Anybody else?
I'd just like to get clarification from Dave. Where do we stand with this? Are they available to come back up here anymore, or for the end of this calendar year? I'm
Just
just,
have to, me personally, I can't verify they camped there once even because I didn't see them camping there. You'd have to be keeping records.
Yeah.
And if you have the records, and you'd have to appear in court, because if I say the neighbor said this, I've been through that, they said that's hearsay, you can't use that in court. So that's why a person would have to, that actually saw it or whatever.
oh yeah, we witnessed it. So again, I wanna ask, what does it take to just do an amendment to the current thing, 3.28, and put in there no lakefront camping? I know you're considered about a vacant lot as opposed to under a developed lot, but there's gotta be something that, I mean, I don't know, I know you're gonna move on this as soon as you can, but like he just said, we've been playing with this all summer, and we don't really, none of us, between him and I and her, we don't know what rule is actually being applied and how it's kind of like in a gray area. So is there any way you people can put this together quickly and just say, it's not happening, you can't do it,
We're
you can't
addressing
make
it as quick as we can.
Right.
We've been working on lakefront property, to answer your question.
Yeah,
We're close to it, and before the end of the year, it's our belief as a commission that we'll have something in place.
okay.
If we made a decision right now, we would still have to do the same process of the public hearing, have a whole nother meeting, then we would vote on it, and then it has to go to the board. So that is the
We're
the
closer than
process
what
that we have.
we would be, we've been already working on it, so.
Yeah,
Another process that the state law regulates and we cannot deflect
We
from.
can't
So,
do anything.
I
with it.
wasn't here before that one.
that was,
So we're moving quickly on it. So to
I
answer
know,
your question,
but-
as far as the 14 days,
right,
currently today it's 14 days
right.
in a calendar year.
But then it's enforceable for, they can do it for 30 more days before it's enforceable. I don't really understand all of that. My concern is a safety issue for
It's
my
14
family
days
and for my
in a
neighborhood
calendar year.
kids. I don't know who they're sending up there. The next week it could be, the guy that owns it is in Hudsonville. He doesn't live up here. He doesn't have a house on here. So the next thing you know, I get like 3 more trailers on there. I really don't know what to expect, but if that's the way we have to run with it, then that's why we gotta run with it. But I just don't see how, we don't get any police presence out there, so who knows what goes on. But anyhow,
There is
okay.
a noise ordinance, right?
I don't know.
I'm assuming you have a noise ordinance.
Any other public comments? Yes.
I'm Nancy Lundwall, Cato Township. I live on Town Line Lake, on the other side of the lake, and the association has ordinance within its rules that follow the same as the township's ordinance. And it is 14 days over. If the trailer's there 14 days, it's gotta move. And that, if you've got the date that they moved it in there, they've got 14 days, and then it's done. We have had people in the association whose house flooded and they had to have, there was a whole 5 months of work. They came to the association and said, we're gonna stay in our camper here on our property and until we can get the house set. No problems. We have an ordinance that says no trailer can be hooked up to water or septic. A trailer, a camper, or whatever cannot be established as a permanent dwelling. And it is established as a permanent dwelling by hooking it up to water and septic. So those are all that. I'm going to get out my little association rules, make a copy, give to Brandy, and she'll
Yeah, I think it's online too.
Pardon me?
I think it's online also.
It is online,
It is.
you're right.
Yep. that's-
So you can look it up and that's enforceable. And it's a township rule, so you do have some strength. It's been there 14 days.
But what if it's 7 weekends, 2
No,
days?
it's been there 14 calendar days in a row.
You guys can take that outside, because we just want to finish up here a little bit, but any other public comments? Thank you, though.
Matt Hubbard, Cato Township. I just would ask the board to remember, there's 2 property owners there. They
The
both
commission or
want
the board?
commission, sorry.
Okay.
There's 2 property owners there. They shouldn't be able to enjoy their property, so let's try to work out something for that.
Yep. There isn't a film.
Any other?
Yeah, just one comment with, when you guys do adjust the ordinance, might wanna put where there can only be 1 camper there, cause somebody can have a bunch of friends come in just that, out of them 14 days and have 20 campers parked there, you know?
it would only be one.
You know, needs to be worded, I know the other townships don't have that.
Yeah,
Didn't
no,
think about it.
that's how I would
Anybody else? Yes.
Just Marcy Myers, Cato Township, and Cato Township trustee, just one question for you. The 300 or 500 acres, whatever they were talking about for the wind and solar.
Yep.
Can we, is it pick and choose, we could pick and choose, like, the acreages, or the lots, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, thank
And
you.
I wanna clarify too, and I mentioned this at the board meeting, 300 to 500 acres is not like a bright line rule. That's not in the statute, that's not like, by law, you gotta have that. That's just our recommendation based on what we think is a defensible amount of space.
Right, so we can put that in our ordinance, and then we could choose, like, we could go and choose 100 acres of Maine's farm, 100 acres of cars, and then we got 100 acres left, 300, that's it. Is that what, that's kind of what I'm,
Well, your ordinance is going to have the locations in it, and
And I
it's gonna
have the
say these are
lots.
the districts and where it can be done, and that is roughly 300
okay, so
500.
those landowners in those districts,
Those parcels.
first come, first serve, I guess, for the 300? Or is it, this is the district, 300 can go here, here's this district, we have 300
Yeah,
can
it's
go
based
here.
on how much land is in each of those districts.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yes.
Lynn Bowen, Cato Township, question more or less. I guess a map of the potential, lake route came up at the village meeting last night. Or it's got out there and there's some resistance to that. And I was just wondering, is our Cato Township Planning Commission involved in that planning at all?
The trail.
Of the trail, thank
Oh,
you.
no,
It's all
no.
city.
And why wouldn't our own planning commission, I'm just curious, why wouldn't we be?
We never
'Cause
set
it's
it
in the
up. I mean,
village.
It's a,
It's all entirely village property.
yeah.
No,
Well,
no,
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 it's
no,
a-
no, no, it's going out on bail.
That's why I was wondering if you guys
No,
are.
it's a committee or,
The committee, what it was brought to us, it was a committee, Todd and Darren applied for the grant. They got the grant and then they opened it up to everybody, but it's ARPA money. And since they applied for the 50,000, that's what the township board approved to it, but we're not gonna police it, we're not gonna do any of that, it's all up to the village.
Okay, so, yeah, I have been to the, board meetings, but this is my first planning commission meeting. So I was wondering how the board got involved without having the planning commission involved, and if that's.
It's just the money wise of giving them.
Is that normal?
we deal with ordinances, we don't deal with those types of.
You guys deal with
situations.
zoning.
Zoning, yeah, we don't, it's nothing to do with us.
Okay.
Nothing to do with us. Any other comments? Very good, I'll close public comments then. If I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?